Hey, how's it going, guys? What is up? Soros here once again, and for this video I'll be sharing my thoughts on the newest proving ground weapon, Zwei Schaedel. Yo, names, man, I can't pronounce the shit. Why do they like to use all these weird ass names, man, like in different languages that I can't pronounce? Well, that's kind of cool, I guess. Alright, for starters, I know a lot of you has been asking me this question, like this specific clip right here. And say,
Hey, is the new weapon good? How's this new Zoe weapon, man? Do you need it to put it in Mayhang? Do you need to put it in a grid, sir? Mr. Streamer, please answer my question, Mr. Streamer.
the short answer is yes. It's pretty nice, but once again, this is like another proving ground weapon, similar like how you see like for fire or or anything like the previous proving ground weapons when it first came out. It kind of feels like a little bit meh, but as time progresses, maybe it gets a little better. So it has the same feeling to me when it comes to for this Dark's weapon, because it feels very niche at the moment, and it doesn't exactly feel like you needed it all too much. And yes, another thing is that no, you do not need more than one full limit break, because the second weapon skill, the echo thingy, doesn't exactly stack with each other, because unless you really need more EX mods in your grid, or you do not have like any of the Xeno weapons. But let's be honest, the weapon drops like candy anyway, so I'm fairly certain by the time you're done clearing all of the honors / badges rewards, you probably will have, I don't know, maybe 2 or more done already by then. I mean, like for my case, like take my alts progression for example. I've been playing this proving grounds with my alt. I've yet to complete it, like all the badges and honors things, and I'm almost done with my third weapon already. Like holy crap, man, it drops so often. Anyway, I've done several testing myself, but honestly it's worth only to put in your grid if you already have a very consistent team or lineup when it comes to your DPS, that is. Since I'm fairly certain a lot of you will be using Xeno Diablo weapons as your EX mods, so as long as your damage is already very consistent even with or without the Xeno Diablo weapon or whatever, and you're trying to find more ways to like get a little bit extra damage, in other words trying to get like a much higher damage than you already can, like getting higher cap, then in that case slotting this weapon isn't really a bad idea. When it comes to main hand purposes, it's also not too bad. Though the supplemental damage buff is really nice to go with your Akasha / Hollow Sky X, whichever you want to call it, as they make very nice combination due to the fact that the X provides you more triple attack through your party. So that kind of allows your party to be a little bit more consistent if you're using only Fizz and X, that is, because Akasha X or Akasha weapons tend to rely on characters based on their weapon proficiencies. Then again, at times I do kind of prefer Parazonium as my main hand, because it feels rather less clunky, especially when you use the setup with Akasha X and not having your MC as a dead weight or kind of like support, like similar to what I tend to use before, where I use MC as I use MC Doctor, and I just use my MC as like a support to buff my other 3 characters, stuff like that. Anyways, with all that said, let's just jump into the game and I'll show you the grids that I use to test, or probably the grids that I prefer to use it for and stuff like that. So anyway, here we are. I'm just gonna quickly share you like the grids that I'm probably gonna use with. It's very unlikely that I'm gonna use that all the time, because there are times where I just feel like this weapon isn't exactly needed in my grid at all, like using my Nia combo and all that stuff, unless I'm using it specifically to like use like Shiva turns or whatever, then maybe. But I probably don't really foresee myself using that all too much, because I have to do like 12 turns and stuff, and most of the times the grids that I tend to be in don't really go through 12 turns anyway. So here's the first grid or the first lineup that I would probably use. Is like the as I mentioned, the whole Hollow Sky X or / Akasha X, whichever. So instead of like, because before this I used to use this Akasha X setup for quite a long time now with my Doctor, where technically MC here is kind of like acting as like a support, and then just buffing up with Parazonium to the rest, so everyone else does all the damage and stuff. But instead of doing that, decided to go with like just a full-blown like everybody is like the ones supposedly do DPS, because everyone is, I don't know, buffing themselves up, or you know, strong enough to like hit the cap or whatever, the usual stuff. Okay, so this is one of it. So I'm using that as the main hand because so I can get extra supplemental damage for alongside with the Hollow Sky X, because you know you get extra 10k out of it. So technically you get like 110k extra bonus damage, and then you get the Echo. But as you all know, the Echo kind of works a little bit finicky. It's a little bit weird because it doesn't stack with everything. So for example, like Six's mirror image doesn't get stacked, so technically it does this weapon doesn't exactly work with him whenever he has his mirror image up. But honestly, it's not too bad if you think about it, because you just kind of want to have if you have this in your grid, technically it would just mean that it will just apply whenever it's possible. If he doesn't have mirror image, who gives a shit, right? Because it applies it to it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's nice nonetheless, because it just makes it look like every time he triples attack, it's always there, so whether or not he has mirror image or not. Okay, so anyway, moving on. As y'all know, I am using Hades grids. I don't really use Magna because, well, I went all in on dark, right, most of the time. So I just increased my raw damage like crazy, and then because this team is all mostly focused on autos, so it doesn't really need like the likes of, say, like Avatar Sticks or, you know, Fairy Harps or whatever. Then again, it's not like I have Fairy Harps in the first place, so so yeah, I use this. So I have Ultima Fist as well, just to have like an extra auto cap. I'll probably even like a combination of Ultima and Opus. I would definitely just use Ogi and auto cap in probably majority of like every setup if you want to use for, or you want to make use of this weapon, because in most cases you probably just use that. You want to have your Ogi cap because, you know, everyone can hit a lot harder, and maybe sometimes you need a little bit Ogi, like if you're using a Perizonium or even this and stuff like that. So it's fairly simple. I'm just using like a full Fizz grid because I don't really have any other characters and stuff like that to make use of this. So this is one of it. I have another one, which is this specific team where I technically somewhat make use of my Nia, because the previous one I had no Nia in the team at all. So this is the one that I kind of make use of Nia a little bit. I find this a little bit better because like the burst from Nia just helps like a fuck ton, and not to mention when you kill off someone, when you use the Death Call, right, it just gives you 100% triple attack for like 4 turns. But I mean, and then when you bring out Nia, when you use the S1, you get an extra echo, so it makes it much more worthwhile. So you have like 100% triple attack for like the full entirety of the field effect whenever Nia comes out. So that makes it a lot better. So everyone else has like the extra damage buff, the 100% triple attack. It just makes it very, very nice. So you can actually use like everyone else. Doesn't really matter. You don't really have to use like the fist setup and whatever stuff like that. So this specific grid, I just put in like this very similar case that I had before, and then this time I'm using croissant or whatever you want to pronounce this. I like to pronounce it croissant because I can't pronounce that word for shit. Yeah, I'm just using this class, and I just put like a lot of raw damage as usual. Similar case as the previous one, just that I only put the fist in there. So either way, they just gain a little bit extra damage. I've already kind of tested. I'm pretty sure you've seen a little bit of a glimpse at the beginning of this video where I showed like this exact same team that instead of Olivia, but it has Nia instead. So it's like I did tested this a little bit, and it's pretty damn good. The burst is pretty damn nice because Nia just helps you burst so damn much either way. So it honestly doesn't matter. I just find it like Nia and alongside with this weapon is actually really, really nice. And another thing is that I'm also using double Hades because it makes it a little bit better, I think. I guess, I don't know, I just like double Hades for like majority of my setups, and like instead of having like Baha Hades, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure you can actually make use of that because, you know, you have like all this massive damage here. It kind of helps. And then you can also, like, if you're using main Baha, main summon Hades. Whew, I can't even say properly. So if you're using Hades as your main summon, then you could also use your Baha as your main support summon. And if you have your own Baha, which also means that, you know, the whole recycling Baha thing, the consistent Baha call and stuff like that just makes it a lot better alongside if you're using Croissant, because you know, with the help of Nia, you can like Ogi non-stop. As you all know, the Baha call, the cap lasts for the entire turn. It's not like just that one Ogi. So if you're using the Croissant setup, it makes it even better for that specific combo, right? So not just that, I have another one that I kind of tested it off stream and stuff like that. So this is like the other team that I kind of tried with. Like I used the full, instead of using Croissant, I used Wrestler instead. And another thing is that I tried using Highlander instead. So this specific team is my Highlander grid, which is I'm using also once again because Wrestler is better to just use this as a main hand. Then I just fit in everything. It's like Kirin Sword, Fallen Sword, this. I just put in like Avatar Stick because I needed an Magna mod, right? And that's probably like the best Magna mod you could probably fit in anyway. I mean, there are times that you could probably just remove this and put in like Ultima or whatever, but honestly, right, when it comes to like Highlander setup, is, in my opinion, I do feel like it's a lot better to put in like raw damage, because you all know for a fact that Highlander doesn't exactly have very high damage to begin with. They have high cap, but they don't really have like really good like the raw damage. So it's like, what's the point of you having like such a high cap, but you can't even like, I don't know, you can't even hit that cap, right? So obviously I will want to like fit in as much raw damage as I can. That's why I have like my Parazonium, I have like the Blood Gang, and then I have a Fallen Sword here, so it just increases like the damage, the raw damage a whole lot more. And I did try this in several setups, several raids. It's pretty nice, but obviously it just falls behind whenever you go to like high defense rates, the usual upper low, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I tried that off stream. It's pretty shit. The damage just hardly ever hits cap. So the only ones hitting cap is, for obvious reasons, is just 6 and probably Nia / Kolulu whenever you use Nia's second skill. Yeah, that's kind of like the unfortunate part. So either way, when it comes to like grid making for this weapon, honestly, like there's so many different ways you can actually fit this weapon in there. It's really entirely up to you, because it really depends on what kind of characters you have, what kind of weapons you have thus far, and all that stuff. So that's really up to you. End of the day, I honestly think it's a pretty okay weapon nonetheless. So this is like, this last grid I'm kind of like about to share or something is just technically like what I had in mind when it comes to like Magna, because I don't exactly have Magna, but just kind of want to share a little bit. So if you're planning to use Magna, you're probably still gonna do relatively well anyway, as long as you have like the standard 4 guns. Yes, this is all not level, but just think of it as full limit break, okay? Just imagine that as a full limit break. I'm just showing you guys, okay? So 4 guns, 2 sticks is still relatively like the standard for when it comes to like the Magna 2 setup. It works well, and I'm pretty sure even though you don't triple attack, you can at least still double attack, right? So either way, having like the Ogi will probably be very important, because you kind of need that to increase your triple attack rate, because that's probably like the only way you can do that. And then not to mention, these 2 sticks will help you, because once in a while you're gonna Ogi, right? So it helps you. I definitely think the Avatar sticks is a must nonetheless. And then summon wise is probably the same. Just imagine this as a full limit break, because I have not done that yet. Yeah. And then the characters, you can probably just use the same either way. It doesn't really matter all too much. So yeah. So there's that. Honestly, I feel like this weapon is kind of like, it's okay. End of the story is okay. You kind of just make do with whatever you want to do. You can kind of ignore it. You can, I don't know, make multiples of it if you want, because end of the day you're still gonna get like plenty of it anyway by just mashing it. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully you guys will find this also very helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So till then, I'll see you guys on the next video or on stream. Like, subscribe, Pepega, and yeah, bye bye.